Oh yeah, so you're the host now. So you can, yeah, okay, there we go. Cool.
Oh, I feel so important now.
Yay! All right, so now that we're recording, we should probably say, well, first off, thank you so much for like sitting down and going through this with me, because I know this is something that we really want to push and just finish, but a lot of beginners have been asking both of us how to do it. And it's like, okay, let's just do this. Because I mean, I would love to just sort of see your process as well.
Yeah.
Since you've been mainly like helping guide people through this. So I'll just watch and ask questions and let you get to it, I guess.
That sounds very good.
Okay.
So I'm arguing with Ben how to make a proper process about that. I would suggest creating tickets for all the operators and stuff that has to be migrated from the old docs over to the new one.
So how do we, like, you're saying that other people should do that? Or you're saying that like there already is and people should just look at these issues?
There should be, and there is going to be.
Okay, so you're going to be creating issues for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I just created a really basic one for the timer function. I think that's a really good example, and that's the thing I prepared. So here we go. That's the new documentation, how it's currently looking like. And don't mind the missing image here. That's a bug, but I hope it's already fixed, just not deployed yet. And here is the old is not the right word, but the other repo documentation. So this is the static Angular application, and this is directly generated from the source code of the RxJS repository. So let's dig into some code, I think. Maybe first look at the old stuff. So there we have a really basic Angular application, which...
So this is the old repo that you pulled down?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the dedicated RxJS documentation repo we used to have for this documentation, where we started in the autumn of last year, I think. And there we have those.
Can you make your screen, like your text, a little bit bigger?
I think I can do that.
Yay, thank you.
So somewhere we should have this timer TS. So basically this is everything which was shown on this page, right? So we see here the title, like name here. We see an operation type, which is just used for this year, and so on. Okay? So what we have to do is migrate this stuff over to the es.commons or js.commons in the RxJS repository.
And
so
which parts are we actually migrating over?
So that's a very good question. So the image is already there. They used to be just copied over, so don't care about the images. And one could check the example if they are good, but I think in most cases they are too long, because we just agreed on having or trying to have really short examples. We can check if that's a good one, because I think the one in the real documentation isn't the best thing. So check this here. Of course, check the parameters and its default value description, stuff like that. Related operators should be totally similar. Additional resources is a thing that should be already be cared about. So this is directly generated. Don't care about this and walk through, and sometimes we have a description like this. This is a really important part, in my opinion, because there's what the community creates the content for.
The description is the most important part.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So let's check the code. Maybe, I don't know if it's easy to do it if I do it side by side. We can test that, but I don't think that this is going to be understandable. Go full screen. Not that way. Are you eating?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Not rummaging through the closet for food.
I think that's understandable, maybe, hopefully. So this is the RxJS repository on the right side and the RxJS docs, old repository, deprecated stuff on the left side. So as already mentioned here, we use really the basic commons. From there, we create JSON documents. We render inside an Angular application in the docs. Okay, that's really a brief summary how the new docs is going to work. So
what's all the stuff that's commented out?
You mean this?
Yeah.
That's the content we display in the documentation.
That's the content currently.
No, the content in the new docs. I showed to you.
Oh, like the content in the Arch. So you just copy pasted previously?
No. I did nothing about that. Don't worry. As you see here, creates an observable, starts submitting, blah blah blah.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly this part here.
Oh, okay. It's just added in as. Okay, I got it. It's just added in as. Okay, I was totally confused for a second. Okay, thank you.
Okay, don't mind. So as mentioned, from these comments, we generate the new docs. Okay. So let's check what's different. I think the description was pretty similar. Creates an observable that starts emitting after an initial and emits every increasing number after each period of time and thereafter. Can I make this away? Yeah, awesome. For me, it looks the same. Yeah, so we can leave it as it is. I think maybe let's check it on the website too. Creates an observable, starts emitting after an initial delay. Creates an observable, starts emitting after an initial delay. Okay, that's basically fine. One thing I just see right now, here it is named initial delay, and here the first parameter is called due time. That could be confusing, so maybe it's a good idea to change that, but it's not really related to the migration itself. It's I just saw it in that moment.
Okay.
Okay, but I think the other are pretty self-explanatory. Okay, let's go back to the project. We check the parameters first. Those are in standard JS doc comment format here. So for due time, we have number or date, which is the same here. Don't know why it's uppercase. Shouldn't be uppercase. Doesn't matter. The initial delay, time to wait before admitting the first value of null. Okay, and here we have the initial delay time specified as a date object or as an integer denoting milliseconds between emission to wait before. That's much, much better in my opinion. So I just go over and copy much too much. I just want this part here and put it there.
Yay, it's so easy, and it's like such an easy way for beginners to contribute to RxJS.
Exactly. It's really, most of the time it's just copy pasting and maybe look at the overall documentation if it's consistent, you know? So really taking care about this stuff would be such an awesome opportunity for the community and also really great for me to get some help.
Yeah, that's so amazing.
Okay, scheduler like. I think that's this one, even it's not named equally. So those parts are also JS doc format related, I think. So don't mind about those. It's just print hrefs directly there, which is pretty handy in the documentation so that you can jump over to all the parts. the iScheduler to use for scheduling the emission of value and providing a notion of time. To use for scheduling the emission of values and providing a notion of time. That's pretty much the same. So we can leave it as it is. And period is this, the period of time specified as an integer denoting milliseconds between emission of the subsequent numbers. Between emission of the subsequent numbers. Awesome. So the parameters are up to date now. That's good. Or we can take a look at the return type too, but it should be fine despite the thing that it's here initial delay too. That could be confusing, but now it's cleaner, I think. An observable that emits 0 after the due time and an ever increasing number after each period of time thereafter. Okay, where's the return type here? This is signature. Very good. The return type wasn't documented here, I think. So that's awesome. Just leave it as it is for now. So what we have now, we compared the description, right, from those, and the parameter list. Here's the new documentation, just to remember, and the old new documentation, you know?
Yeah, so amazing. Yeah. And so easy. Just again, just like copy paste, check it. We need help badly because it's like just a lot of like very manual work, but it's very important work. It's like probably one of the most important things that we're doing.
Yeah, I think so too, because really the most problem is that we still have those 2 repositories, which is really confusing for the community. And I can totally understand that. So I would really like to get rid of the other repository and therefore make it clear for everyone.
Yeah, I'll actually make you an admin now because I don't think anybody's ever done that yet. So
now I feel even more important. Okay, I would suggest just going briefly to the walkthrough, what's written there, and the examples, and after that we can check it locally if everything still works, what I would expect. And after that, create the merge request, I would say. So in walkthrough, it's really just a basic description of the behavior of the timer observable. And here we have timer returns an observable that emits an infinite sequence of ascending integers. So maybe to make that sure, most of the content was anyway created with having the old documentation in mind. So most of the parts are pretty similar. So also maybe that there is nothing to do for some of the parts.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Sorry. Well, no, we'll talk about that later. I was just thinking like about, yeah, never mind. Forget it. Okay, cool. Now how do we submit it? Like can we submit it now? Are we done?
So one thing I would like to change is the initial delay reference here too, because it's now named due time. Maybe it was changed in a version of RxJS, I really don't know. So what I like to do now would test that stuff. Locally, just have a brief look if everything still works. And after that, we can check that in, create the merge request. So there's an npm task for this, which is like, I always forgot about the name. Shame on me.
I can never remember all of them. I'm like, is it Polymer serve? Is it Polymer start? npm start, npm serve, npm run build. You know,
it's serve and sync. Serve and sync. That's an easy one. I could remember that. This takes really some time because now what it does, it goes through all the RxJS code, collects the comments and generates JSON from it, and builds our Angular application. If you take a look at here at the Docs app, everything under source is a really casual Angular application.
This is so cool because like you're contributing to RxJS core, but you can do it as a beginner. Like
totally,
literally anybody can do this.
And additionally, what's really awesome, if you know how to contribute to the RxJS docs, you could do it for Angular IO too, because it's the same build steps. It's really the same.
Amazing.
And vice versa, of course, too. Maybe I should stop my other Angular application for the old documentation, because that should be run on the same port.
Mm-hmm.
Was it cached? Oh, I used the website, which is still available. Do you know who's taking care of it?
Me.
Oh, okay.
We can delete it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Okay, back to this one. So this, here we can totally improve something in the build system if everyone wants to contribute in that way. There's much to do in that too, because there are a lot of warnings which could be removed. Oh, there are even more warnings. This doesn't look that good. Live coding is that awesome. Doc index.
This is one of the smoothest live codes I've literally ever been a part of. So
yeah,
we'll
see.
I know I jinxed it.
What? What's happening here? Maybe I destroyed something last time. It's not very good. I am at the, let me shortly check if I, something's going to happen. Okay, don't mind for now. But as you see, there's a lot of work to do. Localhost 4000. And it's taking so long. Compiled successfully is good.
Woo!
Now we go to reference, go to the timer, which is there. And now everything is due time. I really like this.
Yeah, that's such a great change.
This looks good. Okay, now shortly check the examples. Those are here in the below of the page. And I think maybe we can get rid of one of those because they are pretty similar. I think this one is totally everything we need, because if one gets it, that's every second is the second parameter and 3 seconds is the first parameter. I think that's totally obvious.
I actually think we should keep it, because I don't think it's necessarily obvious to beginners.
Yeah, you're totally right. Sorry,
no, that's okay.
So very good at focusing on things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would totally understand why, because you'd be like, yeah, of course, duh. But like, I mean, as a beginner, you're like,
yeah, totally right.
Yeah.
So everyone who would like to take care about looking at the examples and maybe improve them, feel free.
Yeah, such an easy way. It's like, oh, hey, here's how I use RxJS. It's like, I think one of our other things, which we're not going to talk about in this one, is we want to switch all the examples over to Stacklet.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So you could copy it if you would like to. But yes, integrating Stacklets would be really awesome. But for now, that's everything we need to do for the timer operator. So now we can create a pull request for that.
Ooh, my favorite.
And I'm still on an old branch I used. I could have prepared that better. Don't mind, I like to name my branches with feature slash. Doing awesome timer stuff.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. The screen recording makes my laptop pretty slow.
Mine too.
Okay. For the commit message, you have to keep in mind the standard the commit message format, which is like subject, some description, and mind the double point. It's really important, and a short description what has been changed. Migrate, timer, documentation, remote, docs repo. Now there's some tools to check if linting works correctly and stuff like that, which is basic for RxJS. So it's not doc related, but therefore we just changed some comments. There shouldn't be a real problem, I think. Hopefully. So far so good. That's is looking good. And maybe we should pull the master branch just to make sure that there aren't any conflicts.
This again is just so awesome because I think we keep telling people like, hey, yeah, this is so, this is so easy. Like, it's just, all you have to do is just copy paste. And then people are like, okay, but how do you do that? And this really just walks you through and you're like, oh, I mean, it just seems so much less intimidating.
Yeah. So I hope it's not confusing that I use the terminal for Git. I prefer that more. But
no, that's totally not confusing. And I love that you can do that in VS Code.
Yeah, me too. Otherwise, I wouldn't use it, to be honest. So, and now you can see that GitHub is already saying, oh, you created a branch in that fork. So maybe you want to create a merge request for that, and I totally want to. And someone created this awesome pull request tab. So you could keep that in mind, or just wrote a comment what you did.
Okay.
Tell Ben that I did that.
He'll be watching that.
And keep in mind that this title is accordingly to the branch name. So it makes sense to change that too. Docs, timer, migrate, old docs repo for timer function. Copy. Paste. And that's everything we have to do.
Oh my God, pull request on RxJS core, so exciting.
It absolutely is.
Oh, that's so much fun. Okay, so then I think also what people should do is they should like tag you or me in this, like after they create the pull request, and just be like, hey, what do you guys think?
Yeah, feel absolutely free to do that at any time. You could also message me on Slack if you have any problems, or drop me a message on Twitter. I'm totally open for that.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to help with such things. So if there's everything I can support you with.
That's so great. Oh, I'm so happy. That was amazing.
Any questions or anything we could miss?
I don't personally have any questions. I think people also, especially if you're a first-time contributor and maybe you're not familiar with open source and doing things like that, is you want to always like fork the
Yeah,
repository. So you can go to reactivex/rxjs, you fork it, and then you make changes. Create a branch from your from the for me it would be like lady elite/rxjs.
yeah, exactly.
And then because you created a fork, then when you're looking to create the pull request and open up a pull request, once you push up to that branch, you can go back to the reactivex/rxjs repo, just like Jan Nicholas did, and you'll see it'll say like, do you want to make a pull request, right? And then you wouldn't do that on your personal one. You would actually do it on this actual repo.
Yeah.
So it's probably the only thing. But yeah, besides that, amazing. And then, okay, so can we bother you about like when do you think you'll have time to make issues for us?
Yeah, that's very on the very top of my to-do list.
Can you look at the issues really quickly? Like, let's talk about maybe
This?
how to also, yeah. And then
Yeah,
like, how would you find, like, are they going to, we should actually probably use the label like good for beginners or something like that.
yeah. Maybe one thing I missed. We
Mm-hmm.
should reference those issues in the merge request. That's really important to keep track of those.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's definitely, yeah.
So something like this would be totally fine if I'm able to write properly. Yeah. So
Cool.
that's everything
Awesome.
you have to do. And
Yeah.
then you will see in the issue that it's referenced. And if this merge request is closed, we can close this ticket too and know, okay, the timer is migrated and we don't have to care about it.
Yeah.
So
Do you have, what about labels? What label are we going to start using?
so we definitely will need or use a documentation label like this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And maybe something like PS welcome is obvious too, but we can discuss to create a new one for this, something like migration or
Yeah.
for
Docs
beginners,
migration. Okay.
something like that.
Yeah. So all these questions, basically, if you're listening to this, you can always just ping us and ask like, hey, what did we actually end up doing?
Yeah,
Or you can look on here, or like if you need advice on like maybe which one to start or anything like that. I mean, all that stuff is totally fine. RxJS is still too big. Is it? Is it though?
yeah, that's an interesting thing. I have to check that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. Oh, kitty.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Well, cool. So, again, you can, there's also a Slack channel
Yeah.
that we're all active in, so you can join that. You'd have to email myself, which you can find me
There.
at, yeah. But you actually I have to like individually add people. So you
Yeah,
could just
I remember.
invite Tracy at this dot, so THISDOT.co would be the one. Or if you, yeah, that's probably the best email address for me.
Should I write it
Cool.
down or
Yeah, do it. Yeah, thank you.
Tracy.lee
Oh, no,
at
Tracy at this dot.co.
Tracy at this dot or this dot?
Dot.
Dot
No.
or dot?
No.
Dot.
See, that's why. This dot, you got it right. And then a dot, a period. CO. Yeah.
Kind of confusing, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. But that's the best email to get into the Slack channel and
Yeah.
start.
So you
Okay,
can
cool deal.
also
Yeah.
message me. I can add
Yes.
two. I hope I can.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not easy, but it's far easier to write it down than yours.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. I think we can probably stop recording now.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone for listening.
how to do that. Yeah, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
No, not this one.